So welcome back again. In this lesson, I will be adding our very first custom class. So I'm going to go up to File, New. I'm going to go to File, New File. And in here, I'm going to use CocoaTouch class, subclass of NSObject, and the language of choice is Objective-C. And I'm adding an item class. You don't really have to end your classes with the suffix class. It's just a good practice for me that it, makes things quite clearer for me. So let's see what our item class has. So the moment you make it, you will have two files, a .h and a .m file. And I'm going to go to my .h file and add a few properties and one method. So the properties I want to add is property non-atomic retain NS string name. So, or let's call it item name. So my different, items, they each have a name. I'm going to copy that, paste it again. Let's call it item time. This is the time that my item was made or the last time somebody has modified. This is quite important later on when we want to do comparisons between our item that is saved on the local disk and the item that is on the cloud. And the reason we make it NS string and not NS date is simply because there is no way to write a NS date to the cloud server. So it's best if we keep it as NS string. So read and write of it would be easier. And finally, I have a property non-atomic. And this one is actually a boolean of item purchased. So this is essentially the status of my item, whether it is purchased or not. So the next thing I want to do is I want to add a new method. That method is going to be a ID, essentially meaning that it will return any kind of object, in this case an item class, init with, I'm gonna say NS string input name and time NS string, and I'm gonna call it input time, and let's call it and status, and this one is of course a boolean value, and that boolean value is input purchased. So purchased, yes, it doesn't really matter, but I like it to be better. So now we have three properties and one method, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to implement that method in my .m. I usually like to clean all the comments, so it's a little bit easier for you guys, and a little bit less overwhelming when you look at the code. Let me also stack my code so it's easier to see. Perfect. So in my implementation, what happens is actually quite straightforward. Name, item name becomes input name, item time becomes input time, and finally item purchased becomes input purchased, and we return this. So essentially every time that you call this method, you give it a name, you give it a time, and you give it a status, and it will return a new item object for you, an instance of this class. So that's about it. That's it for this class. I'm going to keep it like here for a few seconds if you wanna copy from me, or you can just open the project that is coming with this lesson.